stuck in a heat wave for this August edition of Local Image, and it's going to get a lot hotter when we bring you an interview with one of our favorite country artists, Rockie Lynne. Before Rockie hits the stage here at Richard Walton Park in Oakdale, he's going to give us an update on all his great new music and his work behind the scenes on behalf of Minnesota veterans and their families. Right now, though, let's trade sweat drops for a splash in the cool waters of White Bear Lake, where a new Your Boat Club is in business and ready to take you for a ride. Well, I'm sure most of us have seen these ads popping up on the television channels or even on some websites about Your Boat Club, and one recently opened here in White Bear Lake, and I have the owner with me, Luke Kuyava. Thanks for having us on your houseboat here.
Thanks for coming out.
So, Luke, you've got this place here in early spring in White Bear Lake?
Yeah, we opened White Bear Lake this year in spring.
Okay. Tell us what your boat club is, because I know there's several of them around the Twin Cities, right?
Yep.
What is it?
Well, really it's a membership organization for people to pay an annual membership, have unlimited access to an entire fleet of boats without the normal hassles of boat ownership. I have spent the past 25 years in the marine industry, and I've really seen how people's really how their lifestyles are changing and how their tolerance for hassles and time wasters is changing. And I wanted to start something that just took all that away and just got people out in the water having fun with their families, whether it be fishing or skiing or pontooning, and also giving them the flexibility to use a variety of lakes so they're not just trapped on one lake all the time.
Very cool.
So far it's been a lot of fun.
So tell us how it works. I mean, if I'm interested, I want to use a boat, how does this work?
Well, in a nutshell, our boats are categorized into three groups we call piers: Pier 1, Pier 2, and Pier 3. As you go up in pier level, the boats get larger and fancier and obviously more expensive. For the most part, each pier contains all three types of boats: fishing boats, ski boats, and pontoons. So no matter what level you're in, you have a variety of activities and access to all the different lakes. You get unlimited spontaneous use, so any day you look on our system, it's a complete online reservation system.
Okay.
Any day that you log in, it shows you what boats are available to you, and you can just click on them and come on down and use them. In addition, you have one future reservation at a time, so you can put a future reservation out there for that Saturday afternoon or Sunday morning or whenever you want to get a group of people together. And once you use that reservation, you can immediately make another future reservation, but one at a time. And that's what really keeps the system, it's kind of self-managing to assure everybody has good availability to boats and gets out in the water whenever they want.
What's been the reaction from the folks who have joined a club like this for the first time?
Extremely positive. Most of our members are previous boat owners, and they
know the hassle.
Yeah, they got rid of their boat because it was too much work. They're launching and loading and hauling and trailering and trying to find a place to park and then cleaning it and maintaining it
and
storing
it,
winterize it, shrink wrap it, all that stuff.
Yeah, it's a lot of work.
Exactly. And for our memberships, which are roughly what it costs to just put a boat in a slip for a year, you get unlimited access to a whole fleet of boats on a variety of lakes. So it just makes a lot of sense for a lot more people than owning a boat and tying up a spot in the garage.
What has been the biggest surprise to you, being that this is still a very new, company?
Well, there's surprises every day, obviously, in a new business and as you grow. But I think, early on, weather's obviously a big factor.
Oh, absolutely.
And so this spring, when we had a lot of cold weather,
it was a tough one.
Things started slow, but then we look at our numbers and our new locations are trending as well as our new locations did last year. And they're just, our different locations are sized directly proportional to how long they've been open. So it just shows a steady growth curve as we get more exposure and more people talking about it. So
does this exist outside of Minnesota?
Yeah, there's a lot of boat clubs. The concept is, they've been around for a long time, but the concept's really gained traction in the last 10 years or so, specifically on the East Coast and down south.
Right.
And you know, when we were putting this model together, we researched a lot of different boat clubs, both locally and outside this area, and kind of drew a little bits and pieces from all of them to put something together that really fits how we want to use boats in the upper Midwest. Our ultimate business plan has us growing to 25 plus locations. I think we have 26 potential lakes or recreational areas identified, really expanding more in the outstate area and some locations over in Wisconsin. We've been talking to a lot of different marina operators and resort owners with marinas that would like us to explore cohabitating, because our membership base now would go to their resorts, etc. So
good idea,
there's a lot of growth potential that we're looking at and considering right now.
Okay, so if people, well, before I ask if people want to find out more where to do that, what kind of boats do you have?
Well, we have a variety of boats. With all the time I spent in the industry, I really built up a big network of people that I know and different dealers and manufacturers. So we've got 18 to 25 foot ski boats, deck boats, runabouts, for your family recreational boats. We've got a big variety of pontoons. We've been having really good luck with both Bennington and Harris float boat pontoons. Our ski boats are runabouts and sea rays, or I'm sorry, Glastrons and sea rays for the most part. And then a variety of fishing boats too. So really a nice mix of boating. That's one thing a lot of members really like too. If they are looking to get into boating, this is an easy way to try it out, try different boats, different brands, see how they perform and how they fit their family differently before they jump into purchasing a boat.
Well, now, if people want to find out more, I know you have a website, and so you want to give that information out?
It's yourboatclub.net. Or .com, I'm sorry, yourboatclub.com, and or you can call us at 612-208-1800.
Okay, and there's still space available here in White Bear Lake.
There is space available at White Bear Lake, absolutely. We'd love to get you on the water.
Well, I'm going to hold you to that.
Good.
Let's get me on the water. What do you say? Let's do that. Ahoy! Woo! I love my job! Let's go! The city of White Bear Lake took on a new project earlier this year, and the results of the Rambler Revolution home makeover is now nearing completion. So if you're looking for a remodeled home to purchase, or for ideas in remodeling your own home, then you're going to want to put the Rambler Revolution reveal on your calendar this month.
Hi, my name is Ben Egan. I'm building official for the city of White Bear Lake, and for the past few months, this 1950s home has been undergoing a series of transformations as part of the city of White Bear Lake Rambler Revolution's demonstration project. From adding square footage to the back of the home, accommodating an updated entrance area that now includes mudroom, to removing walls from the center of the home for a more open layout, this renovation Rambler is ready for today's home buyer and has been recreated using the latest energy-efficient products and green strategies. So if you're looking for ideas on how to give your home a facelift inside or out, or if you're a motivated home buyer, please join us at the Rambler Revolution Open House on Saturday, August 13th and Saturday, August 27th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. right here at 3790 McKnight Road in White Bear Lake. For more information about the project, please visit ramblerrevolution.com. We look forward to seeing you here.
Richard Walton Park here in Oakdale has hosted many great concerts this summer, but by far my personal favorite is the one happening here tonight. You know, it's super hot here, but that heat is going to go off the map when our good friend Rockie Lynne takes to the stage and melts us all. Right, Rocky?
Oh, thank you for saying that.
But you've had some incredible success this past year, and you've done so much stuff, and I really want to talk about some of the awesome things you've been involved in. Let's start with the album you put out last fall, Songs for Soldiers. What a great project. Tell us a little bit about that and why that was so important for you to do.
The album came from a trip that we took over to Afghanistan and Iraq to play for our soldiers at Christmas. I wrote a really positive sort of upbeat album with titles like I'm Proud to Be a Soldier and Ain't America Beautiful and Our Heroes Come from Small Towns. And And it's funny how those songs, they came out really fast.
Yeah.
And they seemed genuine when I wrote them. And I think it's because when I was in the military, as a kid, just out of high school, I joined the military. I didn't have a lot of direction. I didn't have a lot of, I knew what I wanted to do,
right,
but I didn't know how to do it. And the Army gave me a lot of those things, a lot of discipline, a lot of work ethic, a patriotism for our country. It also afforded me the opportunity to go to secondary education. But I don't know that I realized I was getting those skills at that time.
Right.
I might have been 30 years old before I thought, holy cow, these are all traits that I learned in the military.
Yeah.
So I thought it would be cool if we could go over there and sing songs for them. One, to thank them for how they're impacting our lives, how they're protecting our way of life, defending our freedom and following their mission, but also maybe let them know that you're doing things that are going to impact your own life far beyond what you could even understand at 18.
Yeah,
there are kids sitting in Oakdale, Minnesota, Coon Rapids, and they go, I'll go.
Yeah.
And they know when they say that they're going to go not to Fort Benning and not to Fort Bragg, they're going to go to Afghanistan.
Right.
They're going to go to Iraq. And that began a process where every Christmas we'd go over and sing. And we started doing smaller and smaller places, the exact opposite of what you might think, as opposed to, well, next time we'll go to the big places. Well, lots of people go to the big places.
Right.
And not that they don't need entertainment and deserve it every bit as much, but there are lots of places they call FOBs, F-O-B, forward operating bases, where nobody ever goes. Right. So we take this little condensed version of it and go.
Yeah.
And we go there and play, and then we put
make their year, I'm sure.
Well, it makes our year.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Tell a little bit about the part of the project that gives back, because that's really cool. I think that's very...
the way we put it out was every time we sold one, we were going to send one to a soldier overseas. We were going to send one to one of those guys.
Yeah.
And we're going to take the money and we're going to split it right with them.
Yeah.
And so this weekend we just played in Chicago with Gary Sinise.
I
He's
know,
an actor.
that is so cool.
And we do that every year. We do 3 or 4 events with him. But that event, and we were part of the organizations that presented a truck to a young man who had lost his legs in Afghanistan, and he was in a wheelchair, and they'd retrofitted this truck so that it'll lift his wheelchair up and slide it into place, and he'd lock it, and he can drive the truck with his hands. That's making a real difference.
Yeah,
and I mean, I never in my life have had a sense of satisfaction more than that.
Yeah.
And we've been able to send thousands and thousands, tens of thousands, I don't know the number, but it's a lot, of these CDs overseas. It's been a joy for us.
And along with putting out that album, you were able to do, of course you want to promote that, you were able to do a lot of promotional tours and interviews, and I watched you several times on Fox and Friends and Good Morning, Today Show, or
we did,
all those programs. What was that like when you perform on some of those monster stages and compare it to, you know, a smaller local venue like this?
To me, it's the same. Like when we did Good Morning America, and we've done the Grand Ole Opry 18 times now, and we played on Fox and Friends and Geraldo Rivera and Greta Van Susteren. To me, the playing part's the same.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter to me if it's 8 guys sitting in a tent in Afghanistan that guard a pass and say, not tonight, not on this watch, or if it's 500 or 600 people at Oakdale Park, or if it's the show we just did was 18,000 people. It's the same. I approach it differently.
Okay.
You know, like obviously you would play differently to a larger crowd because you're trying to, it may be more, not as much talking.
Yeah,
and in some ways, this is even more fun because you get to be more intimate.
Started the Tribute for the Troops organization several years ago now.
9 years ago
9 years ago. And basically that's where you go visit families who have lost loved ones in the war.
And in the state of Minnesota, there have been 88 families that have lost heroes in Iraq and Afghanistan. And that's where we started the Tribute to the Troops. It was myself and a man named Greg Smith, my dear friend. And we got the idea, and some of our closest friends got on motorcycles, and we visited 3 families the first year. It grew to several other states. Now it's in Oregon, it's in Illinois.
Awesome.
The show we did Saturday was the outdoor thing with Gary Sinise, and then the next day we did the Illinois Tribute to the Troops ride, and we had a ton of motorcycles, and we went to families' homes. And I have to tell you, I'll just tell you a little story. I won't use her name, but we went to this one lady's house, and sometimes when we go to a home, they'll be there with their brothers and their sisters,
right,
and the heroes' children, their aunts and their uncles. And we got to this one house, and it was just one lady standing at the end of the driveway who had lost her son, and she was there by herself, and you could tell just by the shoes she was wearing, this lady needed help. And she's like, you know, I didn't have
right,
anything but my son.
Oh my goodness.
And so these men that are part of Tribute to the Troops Illinois, they just men and women kick right into gear, and they take up a donation. And one guy went over today and cut her wood. She had a whole bunch of wood that needed cut.
That is just incredible.
So they went over and they cut the wood, and see, that's a genuine need in the community. And it's not some abstract, arbitrary, our politicians are just so about, well, we're gonna, you know, they're gonna pave the whole world. Well, it happens one stone at a time.
Right.
It happens one brick at a time, and that's a genuine, real need that got fulfilled. It's not some pie in the sky, $20 million to make a wall. It's not that.
Right.
This is a woman needs her wood cut, she needs some new shoes, and she needs somebody to help her around the house. Well, guess what? We can do that.
Yeah. This year's is coming up in September 9th through 11th?
Yep, we always pick the weekend closest to September 11th, because
yeah,
while other people may want to separate the two ideas, there's not a separation.
And of course,
to
it's tributetothetroops.org.
Tributetothetroops.org. It's probably, I'm probably pointing to it right now, right? Am I pointing to it right now?
Maybe, we'll see.
I happen to know, I've got an N to your cameraman, Scott Jensen.
Yeah, you do. Yeah.
So, and RockieLynne.com.
So what can we look forward to? What's in the pipeline for Rockie Lynne?
Well, I'm working on a new record.
Yay.
It's not a Soldier record. It's the record I would have made had I not done the Soldier record.
Right.
Which has kind of been a blessing, because I've had another year to write stuff, and I've written, I think, a much better selection of material. I've started a small publishing company in Nashville, and we just got an Oak Ridge Boys cut, which is great.
Oh, fabulous.
And we've got some songs on hold by some big artists. So I'm writing songs, I'm doing a new record, and we're going to put this new record, try to get it back on the radio. But here's what you can count on for sure.
What?
Is that, like, for instance, when we did the last show, we go in 2 days early and play the local VFW. We spend the next day at the VA hospital going room to room and visiting with the people in infectious disease and spinal cord injuries that you wear up.
Yeah.
And then we do the concert, and then we visit the families. So I sit here in front of you and say, as I have said to Judy many times before, whether I end up at this level, or whether I go back down levels, or whether I become Alan Jackson, that this doesn't stop.
Yay.
And that those visits
you
don't stop.
You heard it here, folks.
And those
this doesn't stop.
It's the same. I won't be any different. I won't change anything. If the next record sells 10 million copies, then Carmen's just going to have to put some bleachers out here, because I'm still coming.
Absolutely.
You know,
well, that is the best news we could hear here today. So,
bless you.
Rockie, we love you here in Oakdale and throughout Minnesota. I mean, you're our own. We call you our own.
It's my home, and I'm glad to come home.
Yeah.
It's one big day, so don't miss the 2011 White Bear Township Day Mini Taste celebration on September 10th from noon to 9 p.m. at Polar Lakes Park. There's fun for everyone, including a great music lineup in the amphitheater featuring the School of Rock, Mick Sterling, and Lamont Cranston. And here Ladder 9. The singing White Bear Township firefighters performed their new hit single, This Is an All Call. Then see them at work during a Jaws of Life demonstration and more. Arts, crafts, and a smorgasbord of food to tempt your taste buds, including the new Donut Burger. Take a helicopter ride and build a teddy bear. There's something for everyone at this fun fair. The day won't be done until the featured eye-popping fireworks display takes to the night sky. So plenty of reasons to not let this celebration pass by. So come out to Polar Lakes Park on Saturday, September 10th, and squeeze some more fun out of your 2011 summer season.
Well, we're here in downtown North St. Paul, and we're here because a friend of ours, Tony Ducklow, has a new book out, a new children's book, and he joins us here. Tony, thanks for being here in North St. Paul with our friend the
There's
Snowman.
the Snowman, the famous North St. Paul Snowman, known throughout the world.
Your book is called The Summer of Crows, not your typical boy meets crow story. And first, before we talk about the story in detail, Tony, tell us a little bit about yourself, because there's a lot of you in this book, which is awesome. But you grew up in North St. Paul. We actually both did, so we were just reminiscing. Tell us a little bit about your upbringing here.
I have a very soft spot in my heart for North St. Paul. It was a wonderful place to grow up, a little bit like Mayberry in a way, small town. And I just had a blast. And me and my friends were always up to something and always getting into some mischief and always just having a lot of fun. And we actually did have some crows. And it had been in the back of my mind for years to write this book. And a couple summers ago, I thought I'd try it, and I did.
So are you pleasantly surprised with what came out? I mean, how did this evolve? Did you have all the characters in mind?
Not at the beginning. This started out about 10, 15 years ago. I wrote a short story called The Summer of Egg. My crow was named Egg. And it got published in the Pioneer Press. And it sat around for a while, and I asked a writer friend of mine, I said, you know, I'm thinking about maybe turning this into a children's picture book. It was about 2 pages. And he said, no, turn it into a work of fiction, juvenile fiction. And I had never thought about that. And so there's a lot of truth in The Summer of the Crows, things that happen, but there's a lot of fiction. It's a composite. And what I did is I tried to bring back just the flavor of North St. Paul, how it used to be. It's changed a lot in the past 15, 20 years. So I tried to capture just the flavor with Max Dinette is still around.
I loved it. I read the book, and I had so much fun because all those memories come flooding back. My dad used to take me to Max Dinette, and there used to be the Funland Park right behind us over here. That was the hot spot. All the kids came and hung out there. That plays a significant role in this story as well. Tell us about the story. What was kind of the gist of this story?
I noticed this obsession with video games, and I grew up. I played pinball and even with a little Pong. You remember that? The Pong, the first game. And I caught it right at the beginning of Mario Brothers or Donkey Kong, I think it was called. And so I understand the fascination, but it's progressed so much. And as a teacher, it seems like that's about all my students talk about, and that's what all they want to do in their free time is just to play video games, and then they've got their phones and they're texting, and then they've got their iPads, and it's like they're hooked up to that all the time. And I thought, what an interesting story I could tell if I brought it up to the day that we're living in, where what if parents said, that's it. You've got to get out. You've got to go and experience life. And so that's kind of what happens in the book, is that the parents, the boys get a little too obsessed. They are obsessed with a game called Rabid Leprechauns, not Rabbit Leprechauns.
No,
Rabid Leprechauns.
Easily confused with
and
Rabbit.
They get so obsessed they start role playing, and they would like to become Rabid Leprechauns. And during a sleepover, there's a disaster,
oh my gosh,
which everybody can kind of relate to.
Totally.
You get a little wild.
And
so the parents, they say, that's it. That's it.
Done.
No video games for the summer. And this was their big plan. The boys in the book, this is their big plan, to play video games all summer. And so they're thinking that this is going to be the worst summer of their lives. Right.
And it turns out to be the best summer, with lots of great exciting adventures that take place. Tell us about how the snowman fits into this book. It's so cool.
Well, again, I have a special love for the snowman. I don't know, it's kind of strange, but I remember, and Judy, you probably don't remember this. I remember when he was real, as far as they would build him out of snow right on the spot, basically, that we're sitting right now. And so, to me, I was just fascinated as a little boy, this huge snowman, and he seemed almost real to me, with your imagination as you're a little kid. And then, of course, they built our current snowman, and I always thought he was charming.
Yes,
I
did too.
It's a little odd. I know some people, well, that's but it's very identifiable for our town. There was another place that used to be in North St. Paul called Funland. I called it World of Fun in the book. And so they go into this kooky castle. A couple of the boys do Poodlehead, and I believe it was Benny.
Love the names.
Yeah. And so the storm comes up, and within just a snap of the finger, the boys are in there. It takes the kooky castle up in the air, and they're flying, floating around. And the snowman he's the hero, he saves their life, because with his arms stuck out like that, just as it goes by, it catches on one of his arms. And so he's the hero. He's the hero.
So awesome. And the funny thing is it's based, at least the floating kooky house really happened
That's
here.
a true story.
I remember that.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, it did not happen to my friends. And like I said, this is a composite. But I remember in the 70s, there was a storm that came through, and some people were in one of those bouncy buildings, and it actually took them
went up off the ground.
And it took them for a ride.
So we're having a lot of fun reminiscing about this. But this book is awesome, and it's getting great reviews. Tell us a little bit about what you're hearing so far.
Yeah, it's just everywhere that people are reviewing it, it's getting five-star reviews.
What are they saying?
They're a lot of different things. The kids love they love. First of all, kids don't know much about crows.
Right.
Adults don't know much about crows, and so kids especially love that interaction. And I'm not giving anything away because it's called The Summer of the Crows.
Yeah.
But eventually they do end up with these crows that they raise. And most people don't know that crows are maybe the most intelligent animal on the planet. We've talked about.
Yes.
There's a certain obnoxious
quality
about them that kind of maybe puts people off.
Yeah.
And so the kids they love that. They love the goofy adventures. If you've read The Diary of a Wimpy Kid, that's a real popular book right now. Tucker McTeal and his friends are just as goofy. The things they think, the ideas that gets in their head. They go on the sleepover in the field where they get this idea in the middle of the night to run in their underwear down to the park.
But it's so accurate. I mean, it is so much, we're both parents, and I can totally relate to what some of these kids are thinking and doing. Remembering myself as a kid and then seeing my own kids, and it's an awesome book, and it was a pleasure to read it. So thank you, and best wishes with the book.
All right, thank you, Judy.
Well, I suppose I should try to get an interview with the North St. Paul snowman before Hollywood comes calling. So while I do that, why don't you enjoy the rest of your summer season, and please join me again in September for an all-new show. Until then, I'm Judy Skyvoss, and as always, I do thank you for watching Local Image.